welcome back to Girl We Gotta Talk. I'm your host, Elena Jakes. Welcome back to another episode. You guys, it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
We have Sarah back on the podcast. I think it's been 4 years.
Are you serious? That's crazy. Also, it's crazy you've been doing this that long.
I know. I just posted last night 5 seasons, and I was like, 5 seasons?
That's wild.
Yeah, crazy. But I'm so excited to have you back. We have a special guest here. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you guys will see Mr. James Burns.
Yeah. He said hi. Little James. He's, 3 months old. 4 months on the 22nd.
So precious. He was so smiley today. He's like a human being, like just his own little... He's really like such a personality, I feel like, already.
No, he's like coming into his own little personality. It's so funny. I feel like every day he's changing and seeing a little more glimpses of like who he's going to be.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing when I was pregnant. I was always like, who are you going to be? Like, what is your personality? Like, I'm so excited to like know you.
Yeah.
And it's been so cool like seeing... He'll like play in his little bouncy seat and like get excited about certain things. Like he finds certain things funny now. I'm like, you're just so cute.
I know. Well, even just like you guys walking in, immediately just like smiling is so freaking adorable.
Well, I think he recognizes you now.
I'm honored.
Mm-hmm.
I love you so much. Yeah. Well, it's funny, and not that he's a baby at all, but Bear and James are 3 days apart.
I know, they're like little twins.
So it's going to be cute, even though like Bear will eventually just stay the same size. But they're going to basically grow up together, which I think is so cute.
No, I think that's so sweet. I mean, and they like each other. Like when you were holding
that was cute.
Bear, whoever you're holding, James like sticking his hands out. Mm-hmm. Bear's licking them. James thinks it's hilarious.
Oh, they're best friends. They're already best friends. I love it. Well, yeah, so much has changed since the last time you came on. The last time you came on was in 2020. You were not living in an apartment yet with Jake, which I think is crazy. And you were also planning your wedding at the same time. Mm-hmm. You talked about, like, your proposal, how all of that went down, all the stuff that Jake... Like, I was just, like, listening back to, like, a clip of it of, you know, how Jake planned the whole day for you, and you had no idea, and... It was, like, above and beyond. Because you and I had always talked about, like, oh, what do we want our proposals to be like? And he, like, went above and beyond and did all these cutie little things that day. And you guys got married. Gorgeous wedding. Perfect day. And then you guys have been living together since then. And then Mr. James came into the picture.
Yeah. Little chatty boy.
Yeah, he wants to talk.
I told him this wasn't a speaking role, but he's not taking direction well. I feel like, I mean, it's nuts how much has been going on. Yeah, bought our first house, moved like a million times, had a nugget. It's been awesome. He's been the biggest change for sure.
Yeah, got a dog. We forgot about Brenner.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Brenny.
Sorry, Brenner. Do you feel like now that you have James, you forget about Brenner at all? Because I think sometimes, obviously, the baby is the forefront, and sometimes you can not think as much about the dog? Or do you feel like you guys are giving him equal...
No,
time?
for sure not. No.
Yeah.
So, like, let me start by, I love my dog very, very, very much. And he really was, like, our first baby. Like, we spoiled him rotten, like, was our whole world. And I never really thought that would change. I'm like, I love him so much. Like, it's just going to be, we're adding to it. When James was born, people are probably going to hate this, but I did not have the capacity at first to, like, care about both of them for a while. I mean, I cared about him, but I did not have the capacity for both.
Yeah.
And it scared me. I'm like, am I going to be able to like be a good dog mom and take care of him the way like he deserves and like love him the way he deserves? And it's slowly come back. I mean, I think it was good that you and TJ watched him for a week when we first had James. That helped. But then like transitioning back, like it took like a month, which I was not expecting to like want to be a dog mom again.
Fair. I feel like that's fair though, because obviously like having a baby takes so much of your brain capacity. It's like your whole world, like everything is changing.
Yeah.
That's why I asked it, because I think it's normal. Like I think it's so common to just, not that you don't care about him, but you're not focused on, all you're focused on is your baby. And it's 100%. So new, and you're learning everything and trying to figure everything out with Jake. And
yeah, I mean, well, it's so many emotions. Like, your brain is, like, not the same. Like, you're learning how to, like, watch a commercial with a baby in it and not cry. Like, you know, like, learning how to, like, do the dishes one-handed and just take care of another person. So it's just a lot of new, and I at least just did not have the mental space for it for a while. Thankfully, I think Jake did. He was better with it.
I was going to ask, do you feel like Jake kind of took on the role of like...
He did. He's
Brenner.
the one who like snuggles Brenner, and I'm like, babe, can you pet the dog, please? I'm like, oh yeah, he's right there staring at me. Yes, I will pet him and give him kisses. And so he's done good, and he'll take him out in the yard and play with him, make sure he still gets like one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And I think Brenner's sad because it's not the way it used to be, but I don't think he's like jealous, which is good.
We were worried, I remember, because even with Brenner and you and Jake, even when you like would hug Jake, Brenner was like, wait. I have to get in it.
He gets in the middle,
Yeah, he's obsessed with you guys. It's so cute. We were like, oh gosh, is he going to be so mad? Like with James. Is he going to be like, he's taking all of your attention from me? But I feel like he's pretty good with him.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, and he's honestly like, doesn't care.
That's what I was going to say. He literally just doesn't care. Like, unless James is crying, and then he's like, what are you doing to my baby? Like, why are you hurting him? Like, he wants to make sure James is okay, which is really sweet.
Yeah.
And like, we've never had any issues with him being rough or doing anything. I mean, he literally just ignores him.
Yeah.
He goes about his own business.
Yeah, he does.
Which in a way is like exactly what
That's
I would have
fine.
wanted. Like, it's perfect. I don't have to like stress about it. Like at
He's
first
a good dog.
He is.
He's
I was
really
scared
good.
to like leave him alone in a room because like you always hear like, don't leave a dog and a baby alone together. Like you never know.
I feel like though you know your dog. At the end of the day, you know who your dog is.
Yes.
And I don't think
100%.
Brenner is one to do anything like that.
No. Like, I was scared Brenner would, like, drop a bone on the baby's head or something,
Yeah.
like, trying to play with him. Which, I mean, like, he did the other day. Like, he's older now.
But other than that, he's learned, he's moved on.
Yeah, he's good.
That's so funny. I want to, like, dive into all of it, like, finding out you were pregnant, because I think also this is sort of the age that, like, people are really starting to think about it.
Yeah.
Like, starting families or, like, getting married and, like, it's weird that we're in this chapter.
Right.
And... so if you guys had listened to the episode, like if you guys have been here since the beginning, you guys know Sarah already. But Sarah and I met in college. We should maybe back up before we like dive in. Sarah and I met in college. Sarah, you were like one of my first friends in college.
Oh, yeah.
Like September, I think that photo of us is like from...
it was from like Welcome Week.
Yeah. It was first week of,
Yeah.
So Sarah and I have been friends since freshman year of college, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. And we have been... so what year did we go to school? 2015? So
really?
like almost so is it 8 years? Almost 9 years? Almost 10 years? We are not good at math. 1, 2, 3.
9 years.
I'm gonna throw up.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
So wow.
How is that possible? Are we doing the math right?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
We're college majors
really
for a
do
reason.
math. Yeah, we don't really do math. So wild. The funniest story about our friendship is that, or what we tell everyone and how we like to explain it, is that Sarah followed me into the bathroom.
100%.
And then we became friends.
Yeah.
So, and that's how you have to do it. You have to put yourself in the situation. You have to make things happen.
Yeah.
And if Sarah hadn't followed me into the bathroom and asked to hang out, we wouldn't have. Actually, we probably would have eventually. In
I
that
mean,
group.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just seem like someone I want to be friends with, so I was like, let's make this happen.
I love it. I want to get into just when you knew in your heart you like definitely wanted to start having kids with Jake, and maybe like your thought. Well,
when I started wanting having kids or wanting with Jake.
So true. Yeah, let's talk about that. Actually, you have always wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
So, what age do you feel like you really started thinking about being a mom? Like, be
Honestly,
so serious.
People always talk about like what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, and when I was little, like 3, I was like, oh, doctor. I want to be a doctor. But honestly, when I moved out of that phase, like it was hard for me to ever think of what I genuinely wanted to do, because as long as I can honestly remember, all I've ever wanted to be was a wife and a mom. Like, I just wanted to raise a family and like be where I am now. So I mean, really forever. Like,
yeah,
it has truly been the only job I've really, really wanted, all I've ever wanted to do.
So sweet. I know, and I feel like for as long as I've known you, all we've talked about is kids. Like, that was always something that we like talked about. We watched all these videos on YouTube on like pregnancy, which sounds weird, but we were just so like it was just like so fun. I don't know how to like talk about. So I was not shocked when you and Jake told me you were pregnant. Well, you told me you were pregnant.
Yeah.
I was shocked, but I was so excited and like
Well, you'd also known we were like trying to.
Yeah, so I was like just so excited for you, and this has been such a cool thing to watch you like become a mom from like start to finish. The pregnancy, like having him right now, like all of it has been so cool to watch. And I feel like like you've always wanted to be a mom, and like you're such a good mom. Like you're like the perfect mother. It's been fun too, because I think we are in this weird age where a lot of people still like to go out and do things, and I think you're trying to find like the happy medium of like, well, I also still like to go out and have fun. Like, I'm gonna take my baby to a little brewery, and he's gonna be in a stroller and hang out with us. Like, it's okay, which has been cute. But as far as pregnancy, I want to ask you a couple things. I think a lot of people don't know enough. Yeah. And you and I talked about, you felt like you were super prepared before you got pregnant.
Yeah,
you thought you knew everything you could know, because all you've done really is like look into it and research it.
Yeah.
But then one of the things that you've said a lot is like you really knew nothing. Like you knew so much, yet you still had so much to learn. What was like the biggest, maybe most shocking thing that you learned while being pregnant?
I mean, I guess just like the feeling of being unprepared. Like I didn't expect it. Like you know some of this stuff, like you know like how your body changes while you're pregnant, and like you hear like the phases you go through, but once you're experiencing it, like I didn't know that it was like an option other than like the few extreme rare people, but a lot of people are sick the whole time they're pregnant. I didn't know that. I didn't know how to like make it better. Like you always hear like ginger and lemon, all that stuff didn't do a thing for me. So it was like trying to navigate that, and I didn't believe the midwives, and they're like, no, you need to take like Unisom, which is a sleeping pill. Take that and vitamin B6. Take them both at night, and it'll help with your nausea. That in addition to prescription medicine. I was like, that's ridiculous. Like I am so sick. You honestly think a vitamin and a sleeping pill is gonna fix this? Like you're out of your mind. So I didn't do it for a really long time. Okay, it actually does make a difference. Highly recommend. So I think just like another thing, I feel like I'm on like the whole like holistic side of like Instagram reels. I don't have TikTok, but all of the like just natural, like low intervention, all that stuff. And I realize now there's a lot of fear mongering and a lot of like just I also went to like one of the best practices in Richmond. So to be fair, I had very good people taking care of me. And I did go a more natural route. Like I had midwives, I didn't see an OB. But like their goal is to help you and to be there and like take care of you. And it isn't a battle the whole time. Like I thought I was gonna have to like fight to do. You have to take a glucose test to test for gestational diabetes, and like the liquid stuff they want you to drink is like really gross, and frankly it's not good for you. They make a test that's approved and everything that's like tastes like lemonade, and it's like just a sugar water drink. I thought I was gonna fight to have to take it and everything. They're like, oh, that's such a great idea. Like we love that you want to do that. Like please do it. Like everything was just like, oh, let me help you. Like how can I make this more convenient for you and like help you through it. And they were just so wonderful, and I really didn't expect to that degree them to just like go along with everything. Even my birth preferences, like a lot of the stuff I wanted, they just already did. So I wasn't expected for just it to be easy in that way. Yeah.
When you are pregnant, at what point do you start really looking into like hospitals and places you want to have your kid? And then what are some of the things that you looked for specifically when you picked the hospital?
So one thing I guess I didn't realize too is that your practice only delivers at certain hospitals. So when you're looking for a practice for just like your like woman doctor care, one, I would suggest doing all that ahead of time, like picking a doctor that you like and that you would want to deliver your baby, just so you have like a continuation of care and you don't have to find another doctor and get overwhelmed by all that. And so the midwives, that's another thing. You can just see midwives for like your annual women's checkup. You don't have to see a doctor. They spend as long as you want with you. Like they talk to you for a long time. They're really, really good about if you have like any past anxieties or traumas or anything, like making sure you're really safe and comfortable with everything happening. So highly recommend. I adore them for everything. But I knew the hospital that they delivered at, and that was kind of how I picked them, was St. Mary's, the hospital around here. It's one of the best in the area. It's like known for being super, super, super great for having babies. They have a good NICU in case anything's happening. So I knew that's where I was going to have him. I don't think they deliver anywhere else because the practice is like attached to the hospital. What was the other question?
Like, what was something specific you wanted when you looked for it?
Gotcha. So I wanted a practice that, I wanted midwives. I just, again, the holistic, more natural care. I really wanted low intervention. I didn't want to have an epidural. I didn't want to be hooked up to IVs or monitors. And like, just throughout the whole time they were caring for me when I was pregnant, I didn't want like a lot of ultrasounds or a lot of invasive anythings. And that's kind of how I picked them.
Yeah. What do you feel like throughout your pregnancy? So you were saying you were like sick a lot of the time, which love that. That's so fun. What do you think surprised you other than that, like throughout the pregnancy, or like good or bad, but like something that you were like surprised to find while pregnant?
Pregnancy was such a blur.
Yeah, do you remember, like, that's another thing, like, do you feel like it went by so fast now that you're here?
So fast.
But in the moment, did it feel like it was just taking forever?
The first trimester felt like a year in itself.
Yeah.
And then everything after that was like, I blinked and he was here.
How crazy.
It was wild. But I think the first part of first trimester is like, no one knows. And so it's like a secret. You're like, oh my God, I want to tell everyone, like, hurry up so I can like get there and let people know we're pregnant.
It was so, not to make this about me, but when you told me, obviously you told me pretty early, and I wasn't going to spoil the secret to any, like, I didn't tell a soul. And that was like, that is so hard because you're so excited. So like, I can't imagine being the person that's pregnant and having to hold it in. Because I literally went home that day to roommates and I just sat on the couch and I was like, Sarah's pregnant, nobody knows. Like, it was crazy. How do you keep that a secret? It's so exciting.
So apparently I told you either the day I found out or the day after I found out. And Jake just found that out. Like, are you kidding me? You told him then?
Well,
what? You didn't tell anyone? Apparently he didn't tell a single person until 12 weeks.
Wow.
I was like, well, that's just crazy, and I don't know how you did that.
That's on him. That's on him. Like, whatever.
I was like, that is just not something I can do.
Because, like, how can you hold it in?
Yeah. I was like, I have to tell people. Like, it's the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah.
But then also, like, not to get, like, scary or deep, but, like, if something did happen, like, you're one of the people that I would want to know and, like, be there. So, like, no matter what the outcome was, like, I would have wanted you to know.
Yeah, that was a follow-up because I think obviously people stay away from telling people too early in case something happens. But then, like, to your point, I think it would be nice because if something happened, then I think I would want a certain people around me supporting me and, like, at least knowing that happened and, like, being, I don't know, I would want some people to know so that if something happened, then I feel like I'm not alone and I have something or somebody to talk to about it. Yeah.
And I wanted family to know too because, like, I didn't want something to happen, them to not know, and to, like, offhand just make a joke about, like, us getting pregnant or something. And then our hearts break a little, you know? So, I don't know. I just thought it made sense for certain people to know. Yeah. And then, like, work, I told really early because I have, like, a kind of physically demanding job. And I was going to have a lot of doctor's appointments. And I was like, regardless of the outcome again, like, it'd be good for them to know where my head's at and, like, why things are happening the way they are.
Yeah. So. I think that's a cool perspective to hear because I feel like people are they just keep it to themselves until what is it, 12? Is it 12 weeks? 12 weeks,
yeah.
Yeah, and then but yeah, for your circumstance with work, I think that was smart to, like, tell people that you feel like are close to you. That's smart. And for family, because miscarriaging is so common that, like, that's a good point. If, like, if someone, like, family or friend, like, made a comment and had no idea that you were going through that, that would just sting so bad. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, in this too, like, we did lose a pregnancy very early on before we had James, and no one knew. We didn't tell anyone. And so it was kind of weird because recently we had someone we know also have a miscarriage, and I was talking to them about that, and family was like, I didn't even know. I was like, well, why was I going to tell you after the fact? Like, to me, I was like, I mean, it's happened, it's done. Like, I don't, it felt odd to bring it up. So it felt nice, like, with James, like, I wanted people to know so, like, his life could be celebrated however long it was.
Yeah.
And, like, it would just always be there.
And we have James here. He's knocked out now. He is holding back. He's trying to be awake, but he knows he needs to sleep. Yeah. That's adorable.
Go to sleep.
For the midwife of it all, you have talked so highly of her.
Yeah.
And I feel like that isn't, like, I don't see a ton about midwives. What was like something, I mean, you've kind of already talked about it, how you've always kind of wanted that, but what was something that you felt like really helped you by having her? Like,
so I guess one of the main differences, at least with my practice, is there are 4 midwives and you rotate throughout your pregnancy seeing all 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
And so for a fact, one of those 4 midwives will be delivering your child and you will know them and have a relationship with them. I will recommend them till I'm blue in the face. I'm in all these moms groups on Facebook and people are always like, oh, what hospital do you recommend? What practice? I every single time go on there and recommend them. Saints.
That's so great. With that, do you feel like you had a lot of support while pregnant? Like as far as other people that you knew that were pregnant, or like did you join like mom groups like on Facebook, like stuff like that? Did you feel like you had somebody else that was going through what you were going through in the same time?
No, not really. I mean, so at our church, we volunteer in the nursery, so a lot of moms are also in there that volunteer. They weren't also pregnant, but I would talk to them about like, because they've had kids more recently than anyone else I know.
Yeah.
And so they have like a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and we'd talk about things. But other than that, it was really just the support of the midwives talking to me and helping me through it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were saints. One of the midwives, I just adored her so much. I adored all of them, but she helped me pick my pediatrician. She taught us about like, I didn't even know like waiting to circumcise your baby was an option. She gave us the pediatric urologist to use. Told us that was like even a thing to look into, helped us pick like what shots to get at the hospital, which ones to get at your pediatrician's office. Like they helped us through everything.
Well, I feel like that's so nice because so many people, and like I'm one of these people, like I feel like I'm gonna go in blind. Well, now I have you, but like I feel like so many people just go in blind. Like there's not a lot of information that's talked about pregnancy, about like all those little things that you don't think about before and after. So that's really nice to have.
It was. And then also like there are pros and cons to it, but social media, like I would get all the reels, all the different things about like motherhood and parenting and pregnancy, postpartum, labor and delivery. And so I used a lot of those. Like I really didn't read any parenting books, and honestly, like I'm kind of glad I didn't. I feel like once you have your baby, a lot of it is instinct and like what feels right for your child and your family. And so I'm glad I didn't have all these like, you have to do it this way. This is how it's done. Like for sure things I was like, oh, am I messing this up? Like this doesn't feel right to me to let my baby cry it out. Like that's really what I have to do. And like, just kind of winged it, and he's turned out okay so far.
He's all right. No, but I think that's a huge part of motherhood is instinct and what you feel comfortable with doing. I also think books, maybe nowadays, I mean, if they're new or whatever, but I feel like a lot of them are maybe outdated and not necessarily like...
Yeah, things are always changing.
Yeah, like everything is changing constantly. So I don't think that missing out on reading the books did anything. Plus, I think it is really cool that we even have something like TikTok or Instagram to have people like almost in real time explaining their experiences. Because now I think it is, at least on social media, being talked about.
Yeah,
like slowly starting to be like, okay, this is like an open forum. Like nobody knows anything these days. Like let's all have a conversation about it. Let's share our experiences. I feel like there's a lot of influencers and stuff that I follow that have recently had babies that are like, I didn't know this. Like, why did nobody tell me this? And so I'm going to tell you so that when you have a baby, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think is great because I feel like so many women just go in blind and then they have to just expect to figure it out, which you do in some cases and you have like the instincts. But like, yeah, I feel like there's just so much to know. And yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
It has been kind of fun. There are 3 different celebrities that had their baby the same week as me.
Oh my God, who are they?
Both the Beccas from The Bachelor.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And one for sure was the same week. One I think was basically the same week.
Yeah, Becca Kufrin? Yeah. The one with Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Their baby's like literally the same age.
Yeah.
And so everyone's been like, oh my gosh, like my baby, they've started teething, sleep regression, this and that. I'm like, oh, that's what's happening right now.
Wow.
So it's been funny, like, oh, I wouldn't have realized that, but your kid's the exact same age and going through the same symptoms, so that must be what he's experiencing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but that's been kind of fun.
Yeah, that's nice. So after you had James, I feel like obviously a lot changes. The dynamic of like you and Jake changes. Obviously your freedom is maybe a little bit smaller. You have a human to raise. Did you feel different in any way? Did you feel like, I know a lot of women struggle with just like depression after having a baby because everything is new and different and hard. What was your experience like, if you want to share? But
so I was really lucky that I didn't have a ton of that. I mean, your hormones are absolutely insane. So like, yes, absolutely. There were times I was crying and I didn't know why. And I'd be like, not like little tear, but like crocodile tear, like sobbing. So yeah, you had that, but I think the hardest thing for me, and I think I'm going to do it differently with our next kid, was we didn't have a lot of people come to the hospital. We let pretty much everyone come visit us after. In those first 2 weeks when you were home with them, they're so hard on you emotionally. And I would sob and bawl my eyes out before people would come over because I didn't want to give up my baby. I just wanted to hold my baby. And like, it's not that I didn't want people to meet him or didn't want people around. It was so conflicting, but like, I wanted my child. I felt like I needed to be bonding with him. Like I wasn't ready for other people to be like holding him and for me to feel like I needed to be entertaining. The next go around, I'm probably going to let more people come to the hospital and then not really let people come for the 2 weeks. And if they do, just be like, you probably won't get to hold the baby while you're here. You can look at him, but you probably can't hold him. I think just to like protect my mental health more. Yeah. Because that was extremely hard for me. And I'm not going to let anyone cook in my house after I have a baby. Like it's super generous and sweet for people to want to come over and like make a meal. But like no one knows where anything is. So and Jake doesn't know where, I don't know, he should know. I guess he knows, but he didn't in that moment.
For sure.
So I'm like standing up and telling them where things are. And like, you're still trying to get established with like breastfeeding. And so I'm going into the other room to feed him and like sitting in a chair that's not comfortable. And like, that was a lot. But overall, I was lucky with postpartum. Yeah. I think what helped me the most was having Jake do everything. Like, I didn't have to think about anything other than myself and James. Like, we kind of made it so he was getting more of the sleep, so he could be more of a person when we'd go to the doctor with the baby. You're just all the sounds, aren't you?
I'm so obsessed with him.
Oh my goodness. He'd ask all the questions. He was signing the forms.
That's so nice.
Yeah, he made all the food for me when we came home. Like, he took care of cleaning the house, doing the dishes, the laundry. I literally didn't have to do anything other than worry about James. And I really think that's what helped me not have any like depression or anxiety and stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's partner needs to just step up and do everything the first few weeks. It really makes such a difference.
Well, I think it's really crazy because obviously you just had a child and you're still navigating all of that. But it's like once you go home, you almost I don't know. I think it's easy to get back in the routine of like doing everything yourself.
Yes.
But now you have a baby to worry about. So it's how do I do all of the things I normally do and try to like care for my child? Like the fact that Jake stood up and said, I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to handle it so that you can just focus on the baby, I think is incredibly nice. Yes. But also, like, I don't want to say expected, but like,
needed for sure.
Like a relationship should be 50-50, and like obviously you just had a child, like as he should, and I'm so glad that he's that person because he is like down to heart, like that is who Jake is.
It wasn't something I asked him to do.
And I believe that. Like I genuinely know that like Jake wanted to do that for you and like took that role on like 100%. But I feel like are so many men that just they don't know how to do things. They don't have the initiative to like step up in that moment. But I think you're right. That's probably a huge part of why you felt like a little bit at ease in that way, that you knew that he had it. He
took
had it
on
figured
the whole
out.
burden for me.
I also feel like when you talk about how like the having people visit you at the hospital versus like back home, I think originally, because like we were some of those people that came to the house, I remember feeling like, well, we don't want to go to the hospital in that moment because, and obviously that was something you didn't want either, but I was like, yeah, she doesn't want anybody there. Like, she just had a baby. Like, she's still trying to deal with everything. Like, there's so much going on with you that even that itself feels like a lot to, like, invite everybody in. And, like, you're in a gown in a bed that just had a baby. And it's like, I remember always walking in and my aunts had, all my cousins and stuff. And I would walk in and I'd be like, I feel like this is a lot for you. Like, even at a young age, I knew that was just probably a lot. So I understand that, but I also think your point of even people coming to the house and trying to do things for you, you having to be like, okay, yeah, like the spoon's in the thing and then that's in the thing and like, let me come over there and entertain you and me feel like I have to do this, but I'm also trying to, like, that's a lot too.
It is. And people stay a shorter amount of time in the hospital too.
Yeah, you come in and out, and I think it's more, you're more aware.
Yeah.
Because you're like, they're still in the hospital bed, like, let me, like, say hi and, like, get the fuck out. Yeah.
And that's, like, another thing I think is good for people if you're around someone who's going to have a baby and you're going to go visit them, like, don't stay more than an hour. Like, just spend, like, a short amount of time. And if you're holding the baby, like, offer it back to the mom frequently.
Yeah.
Like, give her, like, that would have helped me, too. Even if I was like, no, it's okay. But just knowing that, like, I could take it back. Like, I wouldn't have to ask, like, oh, okay, you'll offer my baby back. Like, it's okay. And if the baby starts crying, hand it back right away. Don't make the mom ask. Just give the baby back.
Yeah.
You probably are great at comforting and soothing babies, I'm sure. But
especially as the new mom, you're like, give me my child. Like, let me do.
And it's part of the bonding process for the mom and baby. Like, mom needs to be the one soothing the baby during that time. Like, even over dad.
Yeah.
I feel like I've, in some ways, calmed down a lot as a person. Like, I can be a little feisty.
No.
And I just feel like now, like, things just don't matter the same way. Like, I just have a different perspective. Like, my child's healthy, my child's happy. Like, that's really where my focus is. Like, I don't really care about anything else going on. Like, as long as he's happy, healthy, our family's good, like, that's really what matters.
Yeah.
In that same vein, I've become way more anal about certain things I never expected. Like, if someone coughs in a grocery store, I will lose my ever-loving mind. I'm like, are you honestly trying to get my child sick right now?
Do you see my baby right here?
We were in Costco yesterday, and this man, I am not lying to you, going the opposite direction, coming towards me, looks me dead in the eye, doesn't cover his mouth, just coughs. I go, oh my God.
Did you say that?
Yes. I said, did you just cough while staring at me? I could not believe that just happened. I'm like, I am ready to, like, punch you.
No, I feel like it's like a protective. That's like the mommy instinct of like, don't fuck with me.
Yes.
Like, this is my child. Like, I will destroy you.
Yes, like literally.
Also, by the way, if you didn't have a kid, disgusting. Regardless of the like situation, that is disgusting.
Oh my God.
When I, like, actually, a couple weeks ago, we were somewhere, I think literally a store, and someone walked by and literally coughed right on my face.
Yeah.
And I said, excuse me. They didn't hear me. TJ was like, don't fight. And I was like, I'm going to fight.
No, absolutely. It's like, who raised you? Why do you think? I mean, that's the thing I've realized now. I'm like, how many people just, cough, just out into the air, no covering anything, sneeze.
I don't think I've ever done that. That's disgusting.
No. Like, I was pretending to do it and wouldn't even actually do it. Like, that's just gross.
Yeah.
No one does that.
Ew.
Yeah. So I've gone a little crazy with that. I'm so scared of him getting sick. Oh, this is one thing I didn't know. So they told us this the day we were leaving the hospital. I think it's 2 months old, but it might be 3 months. If your child gets sick with like anything, needing to go to like the doctor sick, they test them for meningitis, which is a spinal tap. When their baby is like, it's either 2 or 3 months before that age. And it's terrifying, the thought of that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently it's like a newer thing. And so Jake and I like were horrified at the thought of having to take him to the hospital for anything. And like we have someone we know at our church whose baby, it's like a month older, younger than James, got sick at 2 days old. They did a spinal tap on their 2-day-old baby.
Oh my gosh.
And it had a cold. So like legit, it's a thing that happens. Isn't that horrible?
That's
Oh my God. And I was talking to Jake. I'm like, is that something like we refuse? I'm like, but then what if my kid has meningitis? They do it because it's so deadly. But like, I don't want a spinal tap.
That's a sticky situation.
Right? So we were aggressive during that time period.
Yeah. All you just want to do is protect him. At the end of the day, it's just like you want to keep him safe. You want to keep him healthy. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. So with Jake, you and Jake are some of my favorite people. Obviously, you know that. But like from back when you guys started dating in college to like out of college, living on your own, getting married, all of that, I feel like your dynamic is so fun to watch, but I think, and then having Brenner, like that dynamic was so fun to watch too. Like seeing you two as parents has been so, like, I'm not gonna cry, but like so sweet. I feel like you two were both just meant to be parents, like meant to be James's parents, and like, oh my god, don't look at me, I'm gonna cry. And it's just been really, like, sweet to see, because I feel like you guys are just so effortless. Oh my god, so effortlessly just raising him. Like, just, it's so easy for you, it seems like, at least on the outside. Obviously, I know there's been, like, ups and downs and whatever, but it's just been so fun to watch you guys. Like, TJ and I are obsessed with you guys, but obsessed with James. With you two, like, you and Jake, how has it been? Like, what has your dynamic been like since having James, and like has it just gotten better? Have there been like ups and downs, and like how have you guys navigated parenthood together? Because I think obviously you guys have such a strong relationship, but bringing a new person into it can change a lot. Yeah. Just how has it all been with Jake?
Well, Jake is a wonderful dad. Like, he isn't, I mean, that's part of why I married him. If I didn't think he was going to be a good father, I wouldn't have married him, honestly. But I mean, even better than I could have ever expected. Like, he wants to be involved. Like, it's not that he'll just do things or that he just loves our child, but like, he is an active participant in everything. Like, in the hospital, I was taking my first shower, and I guess James had gone to the bathroom in his diaper, and Jake was like, all right, this is it. I'm not going to ask for help. I'm doing this myself. He'd never changed a diaper by himself before, and it was like the first little poopy diaper. And I come out, and he's like freaking out, but he's doing it, not asking for help. I go over, I'm like, do you want me to help you? No, I'm doing it. I got it. Like, I want to be the super dad. Like, he just, every step of the way, like, he wants to do it. Yeah. And it's so sweet to see. I mean, like, from the second James was born, like, he was born on a really busy day. It was during a hurricane, in which more babies were born then, so they were like diverting people from our hospital.
What do you mean more babies were born then? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so they're like barometric pressure changes that make people go into labor, apparently. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah, so during like natural disasters and stuff, there were more babies born. Wow. Not that it was a natural disaster, but it was
but yeah,
like on a rainy day, you'll have more babies. Wow. So it was super packed, and it was just our midwife and one nurse. And so Jake, they asked him to hold my other leg while I was having him, and Jake was like, I don't want to be part of any of this ahead of time. And I'm like delirious, like, no, he doesn't want to be there. And he's like, no, I got it, it's okay. And he like was the first one to hold James, like right away, picked him up and put him on my chest, and like he wanted to be a part of it at that point. Like, he was so excited, and like James had to be under a UV light in the hospital, and he stayed up all night with him while I slept, like literally sitting up over the bassinet with the light, holding his little hand. Like,
oh my god,
he's an angel. He's the best dad in the entire world. And I will say, like, there are people who like get pregnant to like save a relationship out of their flipping minds. If anything, is gonna ruin your relationship if you're in that stage. But
PSA?
Yeah. He's like, don't have a kid trying to fix something. Oh,
no.
Sorry, did I wake you up? But, I mean, it is hard. Like, we recently went on our first date without him, like, as in, like, this week. But, I mean, we were in a good place in our relationship. We both wanted this more than anything. And it's just been, like, the sweetest time seeing my husband become a father and seeing how much he loves my child. I mean, there is nothing like it. It is the best feeling in the entire world to sit there and like see your most precious gift from God in the hands of your spouse and him just like loving on him.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Jake really is like, I feel like if you just meet Jake, you know that he's going to be a good dad. Like, there's just like something about his personality. He's so like caring. He's like one of the, everyone
like
at your wedding
person. Yeah.
Everyone at your wedding referred to him as a golden retriever. And I don't know, like, there's a lot, like, okay, I don't know what that means, the golden retriever. But, like, he's so caring. He's so willing to, like, make everybody happy. Yeah, you just know that he's going to be a good dad. And, like, you knew in your heart, like, this is somebody I want to be with because I know down the line that he's going to be a good father to our kids. Like, that is the sweetest thing I've ever heard. And it really is cute, like, seeing him with James. And
he loves the heck out of this kid.
It's adorable. He's always, like... anytime. So what I think is also funny is like anytime that you and I are hanging out or we're in a group situation, you love handing the baby off. You're like, do you want to hold him? Like, I'm like, everyone's like, yes, please. Mm-hmm. When Jake has him, he's like, this is my baby. Like, And then if you want James back, Jake's like, no, this is my child. Like, it is the fun. Like, he is so obsessed with him.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm not giving you. No, you're not. It's fine. Mm-hmm. And if he's crying, you're like, Jake, let's like maybe do something about that. He's like, no, it's my kid. I got it. Like, it's so funny.
Oh, he's very like territorial over him. That's
for
his
sure.
baby. Yeah,
for sure. Do you feel like so far he is like leaning more towards acting like you a lot, or does he have a mix of both of you as far as like his personality goes?
He's still a little young to see that. I think personally. I mean, I haven't really seen it. I think he's starting to look more like Jake.
Really?
For sure. Yeah. Do you see it or not?
I feel like he looks like you right now.
Really? He does have my eyes.
Yeah.
Yes. The blonde hair is his daddy's hair, though.
Yeah.
And his little dimples.
So cute.
Yes.
You guys, I'm obsessed
He's
with
waking
him.
up.
We're talking about you.
We talking about you and your daddy. Also going through labor with
that was going to be...
person.
Okay, so you talking about Jake holding the leg.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys started dating and actually having, and like getting married and having the conversations of like having a kid, did you guys have conversations about, and I'm sure you did, but what it was going to be like in the delivery room and what you wanted to happen specifically? Like, TJ's always been the guy that's like, I'm going to be by you. I don't want to be.
That's what Jake said.
On the other end. But it's crazy to hear that in the moment, Jake's like, paternal instinct kicks in and he's like, no, like I'm getting in it, like let's go, and he helped you right away. Like it wasn't even a thought. But yeah, okay, so he was definitely wanting to be at the other end.
He did. And then like while I was delivering him, like it was funny. Like I guess the thing is right now like TJ and how Jake was like they're thinking about it like not about their child. Like
so true. Yeah.
Because I was asking Jake later, I was like, was it weird? I was like, you like watched me deliver a child. He was like, no, I watched my child being born.
Ooh.
And so like,
that's
like the difference is in the moment. He's like, no, like it wasn't about you.
Yeah.
Like I was watching my baby be born. Like, and so that's where his head was at and like super excited about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So that changed. But yeah, that was another reason I wanted a natural labor and everything is I wanted that like bonding time with him, like your partner, like you have to rely on him. Like I feel like in a lot of ways like I try to be like strong and not rely on anyone but myself, but like you have to, like you have to give up control and stuff. And it sounded like really good in theory, but like once you're in it you're like, this hurts really bad. It's like not, I mean it was the bonding experience, but it's not like this like romantic like beautiful thing that's happening.
Yeah.
I definitely over romanticized it a bit, but it was sweet. Like I could not have done it without him. Like he was applying like counter pressure on my back like the whole time. Like I labored unmedicated for 15 hours and then had an epidural after that because I had crazy back labor. But I mean he did not leave my side.
Yeah.
We brought like a little cooler bag to the hospital with us and we were in the triage room. He's like all geared up, will not put anything down. Like
he's in dad mode.
He's ready to go. Like it's like this is time. And he's like up on like in the triage room, it's a gurney. He's on the gurney with me, like applying counter pressure, cooler on his back, like bag under the arm.
He's like, I got this. What do we need? What do you need?
I wish there was a picture of it because it's in my head and it's
the
so
way I'm
funny.
picturing it is gold. That's amazing.
It was hysterical.
Aw, I love that. No, I first of all, the fact that his perspective changed, where he was like, "No, I saw my baby be born. Like that's my child." That I feel like was like a boy turning into a man. Like that is crazy to hear. I love that.
No, it was very sweet.
Oh man,
he's a good daddy.
So, have you guys already talked about? And this is probably the most annoying conversation, or like. When are you gonna have your next kid? Okay. Does everybody ask you that?
We haven't. His granddad asked me that the other day. He goes, I know he's young, but like, so when's the next one coming? And they say you should wait a year in between kids, because like if they're born within a year of each other, they're higher likelihood of like a low birth weight, premature birth, and that sort of thing. So I mean, ideally, that's when we'd wait is at least a year. But I mean, I don't know. It's in God's hands. Whatever happens, happens.
Bear is obsessed with him. Bear.
Yes. Are you guys buddies?
They're buddies.
What are you doing with my... Oh, okay. Well, some people might be wondering, because I know you and I always were.
Oh,
Epidurals are not that bad.
Okay, so you were somebody that, and you talked about it already, you wanted a natural birth.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't want an epidural.
Mm-hmm.
But your situation got a little different.
Yeah.
And so you ended up having the epidural.
So I got it because I wasn't progressing. I was in so much pain. Your body tightens up so much. Like, it just wasn't happening. I was like I was like 7 centimeters for way too long. Like, it just wasn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I agreed to get it. Also, they give you gas and air. That is a lie. That does nothing. So let's start with that. But I think it was because I was in so much pain, but I literally don't remember them numbing my back. I remember feeling something like going in my back, like the tube. It didn't hurt.
Ooh, I'm getting queasy.
No, like it's really, you're in so much pain, it doesn't hurt.
No, for sure. For sure. I know.
It like wasn't a big deal. Again, the midwives, and it was the one that like I loved the most was there for this part. And she literally like held me in her arms and like put her forehead to my forehead. And she was like, we're going to get through this. I've got you. We'll do this together. And she's like, just relax your arms. And she like literally held my body up like head to head and like talked me through it. And like I just kept breathing and it was not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be fine.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
I think that's like the one thing women freak out about is just the giant epidural that you're going to get. Like,
you don't really feel it. You don't know what's happening. I just kept yelling, like, just do it. I just want the medicine
you just
already.
got to the point where it didn't matter. You just needed it.
So they have to put an IV in your arm before you get it. And you have to have fluids for half an hour before they'll give you the epidural.
Oh, yeah.
And I have never handed someone my arm faster in my entire life. She said it, and it was out of that bed. I'm like, put it in. Get me going.
And for someone that was like, I'm not interested in getting a bunch of like IVs on me. I don't want cords. I don't want to be connected. Like, we were way past that.
Didn't feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy how like, I guess your pain tolerance is just different when you're feeling like that kind of pain. Because literally none of it was a big deal. All that stuff I was so scared about was the least of my concerns.
Yeah.
Delivering him was the easiest part of the whole experience. Labor was hard, but like actually giving birth was like not a big deal.
Okay. So crazy.
Yeah. I pushed for 30 minutes and then he was born. I was like, cool.
So, okay, but what is the story on that? Because you guys told us that they said you're going to have to push for a lot longer and you're like, we're getting the baby out in 30 minutes. I don't care what you say. And you did.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, that's so badass.
Well, first off, they're like, you have to do practice pushes, which
What?
Yeah. So you practice pushing before you're ready, I guess, which I don't love because I feel like that could tire you out even more than you are. Whatever.
And that's just supposed to like prepare everything to be
I guess it like shows them
easier?
if you're like good, if you're understanding how to push.
Oh, it's more so for them, is what you're saying.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't really know why we did it, but I did a few practice pushes. I thought I was pushing, and she's like, no, that was just practice. And I was like, okay, cool, but that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
How long am I going to be doing this? And she was like, oh, usually most first-time moms, it's like an hour or 2 hours. I was like, huh? And my midwife, I delivered him during the day. He was born at 3:22? 3:22.
3:22, yeah. Yep.
Thank you. I'm so glad you know that. And so anyway, he was born in the middle of the day. So she was across the street at like the practice doing checkups on women and stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, the nurse was like, well, just start pushing. Like, she'll probably get back here before you're done. I'm like, that's crazy that you're saying that to me right now. And so I was coming up with the whole plan. I was like, well, are you catching my baby if it's more free? And she's like, well, I'll just have you stop pushing and wait.
No.
I was like, I promise you we won't be doing that.
We're not going to be stopping. We're going.
Yeah. And so she's like, well, we can have the OB on call come in. I said, no, you can catch him or the midwife can. I'm not doing anything else. The midwife came back and we just like, I pushed as hard as I possibly could. I was not doing it. It was crazy.
No, and I feel like there was just so much before that you had to go through. Like, let's just have the baby already. Yeah. Like, I'm tired, I'm hurting, like, let's go already.
I'm like, I want this done. Like, I just want my baby in my arms. I'm not doing this for 2 hours.
And you guys had gone to, you texted me at like 11 the night before about Brenner, like not getting him. So what time did you guys leave for the hospital? Just so people have an idea of like how the whole...
So I was in labor. I didn't go to work the day before because I felt funny. And then, Thursday I didn't go to work. And so by that night, at like 8 o'clock, I was like, oh, no, I can't, like, I need help. Like, I'm in pain. So, like, that's when, like, Jake couldn't leave my side, probably about 8 o'clock at night. And then, so they say you're supposed to time your contractions. Because I had back labor, it didn't stop. We couldn't time them because there was never like a start and a stop. It would just like peak and then go back to still really painful, but like not quite as bad. And so we were super confused about what was happening, like why I wasn't having normal contractions. And then they say like if you start like throwing up and shaking, you're like about to deliver your baby usually. And so both of those started happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I think we waited too long. So we're like freaking out, and that was like 1 o'clock in the morning. We get in the car, drive the 20 minutes to the hospital. Jake drove like a maniac, so I think we got there in like 10. Because he was so
Dad mode
scared.
activated.
He's like, you're not having this child in this car. I have a picture of him.
At this point, because Jake's not even holding your leg at this point. Jake is like, I'm up top. There's no way I'm delivering a baby in this car. He's still in the...
He's like, we need professionals.
Yeah.
Well, he was also scared because I kept saying like, how bad would it be if I just like delivered at home? Like just you and me. Like,
that'd be so silly.
Like, what if that happened?
Yeah.
So he was terrified I was going to do that. But so we're getting out of the car. He's packing everything, getting it all on him, all the bags. And I'm meanwhile having a contraction on the ground in the parking lot, like squatting down against the car. Like,
oh my God.
Dying. And he's walking to the hospital. The picture on my phone is him like walking in the hospital doors with all the bags like 20 feet ahead of me.
He forgot the pregnant woman in the parking lot.
I got it. I'll walk.
It's fine.
And then literally I'm in the hallway. We have to go up the elevator and he's around the corner. I don't know where he is at this point. I have another contraction. I was like, he'll figure it out eventually. Like when he gets up there, he'll realize I'm not with him. Like it's fine. He didn't make it that far. He turned around and got me, but... He was so
That's
scared.
So Jake. It's like just the panic of like, this has to happen with people, not me. Like I can't do it.
It was so funny.
Oh, we gotta get her in there. That's
so
hilarious.
We got to the hospital at 1:22 in the morning, and he was born at 3:22 the next day.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Hi.
Yes.
You want to talk about it? How was your experience?
It wasn't very fun for me. I didn't love it.
So freaking cute.
Yeah. But it's funny too, like when your baby's born, you're like, oh my God, he's so beautiful. We kept saying, oh, he looks like a C-section baby. He's so perfect. And now I look back on photos, I'm like, that kid was swollen.
Really?
Like, yes.
So when you guys had FaceTimed us, well, Jake was so great because I think throughout the whole labor process, he was updating all of us in a separate group chat. Like it had like your family in there, like a couple of our friends and stuff. And you were not in it, which like was probably good to just not have to like think about all of that.
My phone wasn't anywhere near me anyways.
You were dealing with other bigger things. So having like all of the updates was so great. And then it went like dark. Like we were freaking, from our perspective, we were like, the last time we heard from Jake was like 12 p.m. It's now like 8. Like is Sarah okay? Like Nicole and I were like called each other. We're like, what's going on? Like we were freaking out.
Yeah.
Like totally fine. You had the baby around 3. Like everything was good. And then part of us, when we were talking about it, we're like, there's 2 scenarios here. 1, this is not going well.
Yeah.
And something bad's happening. Or 2, she had a baby and she's enjoying the baby. Like she's with her husband and her baby, and they just had a baby together and they're just trying to be with the baby. But like on our perspective, or like with us, we didn't have any update. We were like just waiting by the phone. So then when you guys FaceTimed us, we were freaking out. And you guys just like put the phone on James, and he was so perfect. Like he was so precious. Just the cutest little thing I've ever seen. And I feel like, you know, you can say like, oh, like it was a cute baby and it was probably like super ugly. Like he was so cute. I remember getting off the call and TJ was like, no, but like that's a cute baby already. I was like, yeah.
That's so sweet.
That's, yeah. From our perspective, we were like, 2 scenarios could be happening right now.
That's terrifying.
You know, it was scary because basically Jake had been so good about updates.
Yeah.
And like, Sarah's doing okay. Like, this is what's happening. The doctors came, like, was really like giving us information. And then like your family was chiming in, like, thanks for the update. We were like, thanks, Jake, love you. Like, everything's good. And then it was just like nothing. And the hours just kept going by, and I was like, oh no. Like, I hope everything's okay. Like, I hope nothing went wrong. We were also freaking out that like, well, what Jake told us you guys you had the epidural, then I think we were like, oh God, because we knew you didn't want it. So then that also just like added to it all, and we were just like, I hope she's okay, like I hope he's okay, and obviously it was totally fine.
That is terrifying. God, I would have, if I were your shoes, I would have been calling the hospital. You guys were so good for not doing.
Yeah, we were just like because on the other side of it, we were like, what if they're just enjoying life together in this moment? Like this is a big day. Let's not like be annoying, but also like I think we did have a plan to eventually like follow up and be like, yo, like is everything okay? And then you guys had called. Like you guys had called probably like 30 minutes after we like talked about it because we were like, okay, like what's.
Well, typical me and Jake, like he was born, they moved us into our recovery room. I had napped, and like hours later I was like, okay, so are we ready to like call everyone and tell them? He was like, no, like let's just let this be our thing for a while longer. Like he wanted to wait.
It's like the pregnant, like when you found out you were pregnant, he was like, no, we don't tell anybody. This is like our thing. Exactly. And you're like, no, we have to tell everybody.
I'm like, but everyone needs to know.
Everyone needs to know.
My precious little boy is in this world.
I know.
Yeah, next time, we'll make sure we update everyone sooner. I didn't know everyone was so scared. That's so bad. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. We were fine and everything worked out, but we were just like,
yeah,
definitely.
Totally
Nicole
scary.
and I were definitely on the side, like, okay, hold on, like it's been
quite some time.
But he was sweet to even update us to begin with, so we were happy with the updates we got. It was totally fine, and everything worked out. So it
did.
Yeah. What is some? I guess like rounding out the show tonight. What is like some advice you would give to someone that's about to get pregnant, maybe like really looking into having kids or starting a family, and then maybe for like new mom advice, something that you would have wanted to know?
I think as far as one thing that helped us to get pregnant, there's a lot of research on it, but going gluten-free really helps you to get pregnant. And that.
How did that go, by the way? Did you feel like that was easy?
I realized like we basically ate gluten-free anyway for a lot of stuff. I already ate like chickpea pasta anytime we cook pasta just because it has protein in it. So we already did that. Most of our diet just consisted of like a lot of rice and not a lot of, we didn't really do a lot of bread. And we weren't super strict. Like if we went out to a restaurant, like we'd eat whatever we were eating. But it wasn't hard. So that really helped. The nausea medicine, if you are pregnant, do the B6 thing.
Yeah, maybe do that earlier.
Like, I know it sounds crazy. I thought so too, but just like do it.
Yeah.
See if it helps you. It helped me. And then for new mom advice, to just trust your instincts. Don't feel like you have to do something a certain way because the internet or a book or your mother-in-law, whoever told you that's how you have to do it. Just do what feels right for your family. Yeah. And then you're not going to screw them up. Well, you might, but like you're going to try to. Just do your best.
It won't be your fault. You're going to do your best.
That's what the midwife said to me. She was like, when I was pregnant, she's like, you know, everyone screws up their kid in some way. You just have to do what you think is best in the moment. Like do what, with the knowledge you have, with the resources you have available, do whatever you think is best, and like that's all you can do. So like everyone finds out later that something was wrong. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. But if you don't know, like, so
yeah, it's
like, I mean, I don't know if that's reassuring, but okay.
You're like, okay, thanks.
No, but they're just, it's hard, but there's nothing better in this world. I wouldn't trade a single moment of it for anything.
Well, he's so perfect.
Yes.
You're just so perfect.
Every long night is worth every second of it.
Aww. Okay, I'm gonna have a kid now.
Yeah. Please do.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Like 4 years later, what the heck?
I know.
Well, now it's nice because we live in the same place.
That certainly makes it a lot easier.
It's so much easier, and we can all hang out more.
So fun. You live so close.
I know. I love it.
The best time. I mean, I could have used you here like a little sooner while I was more of a person and independent.
Also that. I also wish I was here like earlier in your pregnancy too.
Yeah, you were here at the end,
just
right?
So if you needed like anything, I could just, you know.
Okay, to be fair, that was the baby, to make that so clear.
To be clear, no one probably thought it was you, Sarah. Don't worry.
I know, it just sounds like a grown man.
Wow, that was impressive. That was impressive. Should we keep it in? Send everyone out with that? I like it. Thanks for coming on, Mr. James.
Parenthood.
You're welcome. You're welcome back anytime. Please.